Did Marie just have sex with you?
Take Charlie with you.
I do have a few drivers who like feel that I should go.
Get down this direction.
Because here's what always happens. They go down too long, they're out of time.
Yeah, so that's where we'll do the thing. It's 450, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one of the people who have taken over your spot is Charlie.
Yeah, but
Tim's looking for Stingray.
Even if they have a time schedule, why not just keep going? Because the next person can go in while you're still doing it.
wait.
Yeah, you should be.
There you go, that's better. This is just going hard.
Yeah.
There you are.
You travel with Indy?
I do?
Yeah, so you've seen the best rooms there.
Yeah, one word there's not.
Cheers.
For everybody. Very much.
Well, some problems with time, but
Well, I mean, I can keep it moving, though. I mean, it's not.
I need 100.
You need 100?
What's going to happen is 2 minutes are going to be told exact time.
What's your priority? 100?
You can always find time. Not always.
Otto is never going to move from this spot. I'm going to upsell. Charlie grabs things. No, I'm saying he was telling me to like this clip. That's what's down here, not you.
Charlie and me.
Yeah.
That's I didn't say. I was like,
You don't mind me filming you? I could just. I don't need a spot.
I'm probably going to go this way.
There you got it.
Did you get in today or yesterday?
Last night.
Last night. Traveling okay?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the traffic.
Terrible.
Come up
It's worse than New York.
coming through the Buffalo way, or did you go around?
Yeah, Buffalo.
Okay. Should have seen this. Should have seen Tuesday.
Yeah,
We had flooding.
he walks over there.
And so with the flooding, it closed down all our major routes of getting around.
He walks over
So you couldn't drive in the city at all.
because he's
To get like 5 miles, it would take you at least an hour if you were driving. Because no one can get on the highways to like clear out. She's saying Tuesday. I was saying Tuesday. It's been bad. The last couple of years.
Yeah, it continues to be this bad.
Yeah, it's been very good. We can go into the infrastructure and the mayor and all that kind of stuff. We don't need to do that today.
That's funny why we went to Manchester when the manager was saying the same thing. It's like, you guys don't have enough time for me to air on my cruise.
Yeah, no, it's bad. back quickly, which is really strange. They're preparing for the World Cup, which is coming in 2026. So the Gardner Expressway, which goes over the racetrack, they've closed a big portion of that down, and so that forces a lot of other traffic. So and you're getting I want to say you're probably getting 2 to 3 million people traveling on that a day coming into the city to work. And it's just
They don't have mass transit.
true, but it's not enough. Depending on where you live, if you're up in Brampton, if you're in Orangeville, you've got London, and then the city center, you got to drive. They didn't think it through. World Cup's coming. We're going to start doing this huge demolition project to get everything ready for 2026.
It's a lot easier to make it now.
Oh. Hey, Stinger, how's it going? You good?
Just a little bit more. The background there is just
Stinger, how are you doing? Talking about the race here for this weekend. It's your second time back in IndyCar racing on this particular track. What does it take really to master this particular circuit? Because obviously you've got all the bumps. It's very brutal in that respect. For yourself, is it experience or is it just get the right setup on the car?
It's a very dynamic racetrack, and there's nothing that you can do to make the car perfect for it. So I think there's a lot of experience. So I think that's why we see guys like Scott Dixon do so well here. But Christian Lundgaard kind of broke the mold last year winning here at his first win. So I don't know what it really takes yet. I think we're still figuring it out. I think with it being such a dynamic track, you kind of have to understand what you need as a driver for the car to fit your driving style. And I'm getting to the point now where I understand that.
For the chassis change that you were telling me about yesterday, going from what you had to now, I guess, running a speedway car and running, how is that different for an actual driver? Is there a big feel difference?
No, the chassis should be very similar. Gillard does a good job for the consistency of the chassis from one to another. Where you really feel the difference is in the old chassis versus the new chassis. Sometimes they get kind of dead, where you take a piece of metal and you flex it a bunch of times and it doesn't have that spring back. Similar idea, the car may kind of wear out and loses its rigidity a little bit. So still a very strong chassis, but that spring back might not be. We see the same thing in go-karts.
Right.
Same idea.
The physicality factor with this particular track, it's really rough every year. It just keeps getting bumpier and bumpier. Do you have to do anything different in the gym to prepare for this particular race, or is it you're basically preparing for the entire season?
Yeah, this falls right in line with other races that we're doing, like Detroit, another super bumpy street course that will rattle your teeth loose. And you feel it by the end of the weekend, but for sure it's right in line with what we've been doing.
Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
I got a quick softball for you for CAA Magazine, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
For folks across Canada, we're trying to find any skills that you use on course for folks on regular streets and roads. Any advice for them?
Stay off your phones. That's always a good one. I always recommend that. We're not dealing with too much in the car that we're not familiar with, and especially if you were to have us throw our phones in there and we were just scrolling social media, it would not end well. So recommend people on the road stay safe, get off your phones, put that down, buckle up. Seatbelts saved my life last weekend, so I hope that people are recognizing it on the public roads.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Good luck.
All right. Talk to you to run the practice broadcast. It was Stingray 3-2-1. Well, certainly one driver that we're very happy to see here in Toronto is Stingray Robb after that scary crash at the finish last Sunday in Iowa. Stingray, I guess first things first, what sort of your recollections of what happened in the backstretch?
Well, I remember everything, unfortunately. I'd like to forget it, but it's in my memory forever now. But mentally, I'm doing well. I think having that knowledge of how we got to that point, understanding what happened that came down off the airline ride I was on there, and the safety of the car is really blew my mind a little bit because I should be hurt a lot more than what I am. Hurting my finger getting out of the car is actually makes sense for injuries, maybe a couple bruises here and there. But walking away without a concussion and having severe injuries, unbelievable. So I feel very blessed and very grateful that I get to come back to the car again.
Of course, you talk about the safety of the car, but also almost about the time it came to rest, the MR IndyCar safety team was there. Just talk about how that eases your mind after a terrifying situation like that to have knowledgeable people there almost immediately.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I think, still moving when the first guy was like next to me in the car. But you know, that was very comforting just because I'm sitting there, I'm upside down, I'm out of breath, because the wind knocked out of me. I don't know if the car's on fire, I don't know if the car's broken in half, I don't know what I'm doing here. And they're sitting there asking me questions like, okay, Stingray, you all right? Can you breathe? And I always probably should take a second to answer that a little bit better. I was a little bit frustrated with the situation. Of course I can't breathe. Did you see what I just went through? I got the wind knocked out of me. But yeah, having them right there as soon as they were was very comforting. And it's definitely something that I think people have underestimated. Is the people behind the scenes that are keeping it safe, and they did their job that day.
And certainly the process we saw a couple of days ago, of course, cleared to drive. And for the fans out there, what's that sort of a process like of reevaluating you to make sure that you're safe and ready to go this weekend?
Well, first thing was I got flighted out to the local hospital to get a CT scan to make sure there was no bleeding internally of any sort, and just make sure that me saying that I was okay was actually the truth. And then the next day on Monday, as we were coming back from Iowa, stopped at the IndyCar Medical Center in Speedway, and they went through all the concussion protocols. Initial tests were our neurologist doing some just regular hand-eye coordination stuff to make sure that my eyes weren't lagging behind, which is a good sign of a concussion usually. And then checking my emotions, checking my balance, all that stuff. And then we have all of the stuff that we practice in preseason to set a baseline for, which is very trackable now during the season that I was able to test through.
Now, of course, as we move on from that to what you really like to talk about, driving that number 41 car for AJ Foyt Racing. What do you think's the outlook as you come here for a second time in the IndyCar Series in the streets of Toronto?
I'm very excited. You know, I think this track favors those that have experience here. It's a very dynamic, bumpy, unique racetrack that I don't think you can ever get a perfect car for. So having that knowledge going through the second season is good. And then I think that we've been building momentum. You know, race 1 at Iowa, it was my best finish of the year, and that's just progress we've been making the last 2 races.
You mentioned a road track. What advice would you give Canadian drivers across the country?
Oh, gee. Canadian drivers.
Could be technique, could be safety, could be anything.
Honestly, I think it's cool because when I came, I know it's international, like America's a country, but I think it's awesome the American route. You know, for me, coming from Australia and New Zealand, like I got through a lot of the ranks from scholarships and things like that. So for me, committing to the American path was super helpful because of the scholarship system they have and everything like that. So I'd say, you know, probably go to America and race, man. Like there's a lot of opportunity there. So that's probably what I would say. Honestly.
Okay. And what about actual people, like just driving on the streets? Any skills that
look
you...
ahead.
Okay.
Look ahead. Don't look at the car in front of you. Look like 3 cars ahead.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
What's up, guys? How are you? How are you, man? Yeah, I know you. Yeah. Okay. I've seen you. I think I met you a couple times.
Anyways, let's have a couple of things. We're going to actually interview you, but first we need to...
No, I'm okay. Thank you so much.
Get your name, your country.
No problem.
Here we go.
Hunter McElroy, New Zealand.
And there we go with Hunter McElroy. 2-1. The driver very excited to be making his NTT IndyCar Series debut for Dale Coyne Racing is Hunter McElroy. And Hunter, I'm not going to ask you sort of your emotions. I know very excited to make this debut, but just to talk to us about the work that's gone into being able to make this debut with the NTT IndyCar Series.
Yeah, it's awesome, mate. It's been a long time coming. You know, for me this year it's been really difficult, probably more than I thought, to get an opportunity. So to finally get the challenges to get in one, obviously I tested a couple of weeks ago, so that was super special. And then obviously to be in the race, it's really cool. So it's going to be a big ask, obviously a big challenge, kind of throwing myself in the deep end, but I'm going to enjoy it. I have kind of no expectations, just going to do the best I can, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully we can make a statement the best I can, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to enjoy it and kind of have no pressure and have fun.
He's somebody that can make a true sort of apples to apples comparison. We talk so much about the Indy Next by Firestone cars, and similarities, differences to the Indy car. Having that first drive a couple weeks back in Mid-Ohio Sports Car course, were there things that you were able to translate from your experiences in Indy Next over to the Indy car?
Yeah, I think the Indy Next car is a good car in terms of like, it's a lot harder to drive. I mean, Indy car's faster and more physical, but like the damping in the Indy car and just a lot of the braking, the gear shift, like the downshifts, a lot of things are nice as you expect in the Indy car. You know, not being negative about the Indy Next car, but it's just, you know, if you can drive the Indy Next car quick, I think you could drive the Indy car quick. So, yeah, I loved it. It felt pretty natural, pretty quick. I'd even been out of that single seater for like almost a year. You know, last time I drove was when I won my last Indy Lights weekend at Laguna with Andretti, and then I've been racing in LP2 in IMSA in the endurance races, staying race fit, and yeah, I had an Indy car test, and yeah, it went pretty well, and it felt pretty natural. So kudos to everyone at Indy Next, and obviously IndyCar.
Of course, to add to the, I guess, the drinking from a fire hose type aspect, you have the hybrids and the Indy cars. Are you able to get some experience with that in Mid-Ohio? And if so, what do you think about that as you go to the streets of Toronto this weekend?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I had some experience riding with that, so it's busy at first, but I think once you get used to it, it kind of becomes a bit of a habit. So yeah, it's obviously maybe a good time for me. It changes things up for sure. I think with maybe the more uncertainty and new things with IndyCar, for me, jumping the better, just to kind of maybe level the playing field a bit. But anyway, it's nice to be here, and the hybrid system was honestly pretty easy to get to work. So I thought IndyCar did a good job with it.
Now, as we look ahead, finish this sentence for me: a successful weekend in the Ontario Honda dealers Indy Toronto for Honda McElroy.
I would say experience under the belt. Leaving here with a good weekend, lots to learn, clean weekend, and you know, this time, I know that this is supposed to be one word answer, but to try and maybe put myself in a position to be back here again.
Well, congratulations on this opportunity, and wish you a lot of luck this weekend.
Thank you, sir. Please. Thank you, mate. Good. Thank you.
Beat everybody else.
No, I think it's you have to execute every possession. The hybrid coming in this year.
Pretty recent, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I would say a week before 3-2, so it was pretty quick.
Second start in the NTT IndyCar Series this weekend. Toby Salary driving for Dale
Really
Point
well.
Racing. Toby, a great run, really basically a hard charger. One of those.
It's hard to be like sort of assess apples that time, but it was definitely, I would say, as positive as I honestly, like, I don't think weekend in terms of result. You know, today, unfortunately, didn't get the qualifying attempt, so I'm still yet to do that this weekend and kind of understand how that works. But in terms of the race, couldn't really ask for much more. Do the best I can. One little mistake here and there, but you know, in terms of the actual overall performance on my side, I'm quite happy. It's actually yeah, that's what they said. That was cool. It's racing, so. Jump in and kind of swim. I'm very happy with myself. There you go. Dale and everyone within the team. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's really cool. It's a good moment, I guess. From lots of drivers in and out to actually strong sort they're working super hard, you know, to keep that consistency, to keep that improvement, and build on it.
And certainly they were happy not only the opportunity here in Toronto, but in Portland. So what does that do for your confidence? That's sort of their assessment match how the weekend went. They get rewarded.
Yeah, right when we were talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's strategy thing as well. We've got on very well, performance matched, and I think it goes to show that, you know, put the right people together and the performance can come. But yeah, like, for sure, it's definitely more of a foundation that we can build on having 2 more races on the weekend. Yeah, you know, like, I'm excited. It's, you know, more races than IndyCar. I can never complain at that. But yeah, it's going back to 2 tracks that I've driven before as well, so having that one race experience under the belt kind of gives you a bit of a platform to be a bit more exploratory with how you approach the weekend, take sessions on, and just try and really figure out what works for you.
You're somebody that's been trying for quite a while.
to make it an entire series. Maybe talk about that a little bit, but it's not necessarily a deal where just entirely about your talent behind the wheel. There's a lot of other things that have to go right in offices and the boardrooms, if you will.
Yeah, like you said, it's not just driving. There's so much more to this sport than people understand most of the time. So it's been a target for a very long time. And obviously Dale was the guy that's given us a start. So very grateful for that. But again, like you said, there's a lot of networking, a lot of sponsorship proposals, a lot of hard work, blood, sweat and tears that go on outside of the racing to get to this opportunity. So it's doing all of that, putting all that effort and making sure we serve the racing agenda kind of clicks and it's not a wasted opportunity.
To try to build on.
So do you have this was kind of like back-to-back weekends where you have a little extra to do? High E?
Probably, yeah.
Or is it just getting started?
It's building on what we did so far. The result, fantastic. It's going to be a different challenge, street course, much bumpier, how physicality-wise it's going to work. But
how much do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, throw in the deep end.
I think a lot of the base is obviously going to carry over. I wouldn't want to say that we were the most competitive part of practice. I think the track came to us last year. We managed to stay ahead of the track evolution. We were just better throughout the entire weekend. Obviously best on Sunday than we were on Saturday. So like that gives us a lot of knowledge, but also a lot of confidence for this year in terms of the way to approach the weekend. But again, it comes with a lot of pressure. I think for all of us, I know there's a lot of pressure from the bosses that wants us to perform this weekend because we've done it before. I think for us, it's all about just go out and see where we really are in practice one and make sure that the car is in its window for the hybrid as well.
Street racing is always different.
It's much more fun.
You're like, just because you have to just be sharp and on top of things?
It's search for grip rather than drive where everybody else drives.
How different are the lines? We won't notice any difference, but it's just a matter of a few inches of finding the right spot. Does it, when you watch, can you see the inch that you notice if you really start paying attention to things?
It depends. I think there's a lot of corners where with the concrete that makes a bigger difference than on the asphalt.
Okay. And it's finding out what your car likes better, or is one always preferred over the other
weekend?
Okay, so it's not necessarily you always want this. It's
basically you're also trying to set up the car for the race throughout practice 1 and practice 2 at the same time as you're trying to make it fast for one lap. But again, the race is where you win the race. You don't win on Saturday. So I think we did that last year. I think we got a little lucky with qualifying with the weather. But I think we executed very well.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello. Give me one sec. Question 3, 2, 1. Defending champion here on the streets of Toronto is Christian Hungard. Christian, I know some difficulties during the weekend at Iowa Speedway. What's it mean to be able to reset and come back? No, I'm just going to get a lot of success, a lot of race here in Toronto.
Street package.
Street package.
Really good at St. Pete.
Not wow.
Huh?
Not
wow, but just.
I mean, St. Pete's the only one that we're strong at. All the other ones are weak. So this is definitely not the strongest suit of our season. It hasn't been in the past, but I'm determined to make it one. That's good. I need to update my Toronto memories. The last good ones I have are 2018.
Wow. This is where you took the championship for good. I don't think you gave it up the rest of the year, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You took it in race 1, and then of course had to kind of start the race 2.
I know I can make it a good one, but definitely, and it'll be different with the hybrid, you know. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what we got.
What have you guys done to try to get back on the hot? Is there anything you do? Is it theory or?
We just need to nail the setup. We need to roll off the trucks decently strong. Obviously, the 100 pounds of hybrid in the back are changing things, so we're arriving with a bit of a different car than last year. Subtle changes here and there. So we're kind of just seeing where we are in practice 1 and then where we have to go. But
time we started in Mid-Ohio, it turned out fine. So.
Good point. All right, take care.
Thanks, bro.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, we're fine. Thank you.
Last race being that summer break, you have any kind of different plans and days of the week ahead. It's going to be about taking it easy for the finish well. Maybe. Enjoy that time at home, but also for the weekend here. I wish you luck as you try to defend your time. Thank you.
Good to see you as well. I'm just going to position you just a little bit to get the backdrop in there for you. Let me know when you're rolling there. Joined by championship leader Alex Below. Alex, thanks very much for taking the time to do this. Really appreciate it. Up and down weekends in Iowa. I mean, coming here to Toronto, I mean, tough city streets. Mentally, when you come off a weekend like you just had, I mean, obviously it was positive at the podium and everything, but coming to a track like this, does your mentality have to change at all, going from a short oval to a city street circuit?
No, I mean, the good thing is in Iowa we started with a down and then ended up with the up on the second race with the P2 there. So yeah, I mean, the mentality always changes. You go from a short oval to a street course, especially all the street courses nowadays are so tough to read with the yellows. You don't know if the strategy is going to fall your way or not, so you always have some more chaos than what you would prefer on a street course, but we had great cars here in the past. The first thing is to have a fast car, to feel confident with it, and to be able to go fast. So it doesn't really change much. What we had in Iowa, it's like a brand new weekend, and we're excited for it.
You have 2 races, well 3 races in total that have been down with the hybrid power unit that you guys have now. What have you noticed so far? Is it positive, going in the right direction? Because I think you're running around 60 extra horsepower with the hybrid unit. Could be a little bit more. I've heard a lot of up and down things from drivers, but for yourself, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not been the best. How you say, the tracks we've been with the hybrid are not in the best showcase for the hybrid, but I think we went to a Mid-Ohio that was repaved, that was really fast, that it's always tough to overtake with hybrid, no hybrid, whatever, it's always tough to overtake there. I thought it was super fun as a driver and as a team to have the hybrid on. I thought it was like I was 100% on it. And then what we saw in Iowa, in my opinion, wasn't due to the hybrid. I think it was more due to the track repave, that it was only one lane and that we couldn't, it was so fast that we couldn't really overtake. So yeah, I think the hybrid is on the right direction. I think everybody was happy. Obviously we saw that many people, including myself, was a bit frustrated with Iowa, but I wouldn't say it was related to the hybrid.
When you take a look at how much weight it's added, just over 100 pounds, I mean, how does that change in terms of the driving style? I mean, it sounds like the weight, obviously where it is now in the car, has kind of changed the way the handling is on corner entry.
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, more weight. It's never good to a race car. On the drivers, I'm 100% sure I'll put my hand on fire and I hate weight. But it's the same for everybody. So the cars are a little bit heavier, they are more physical. obviously with more weight you have more movement, which we already had a lot in IndyCar. So yeah, but it's not a crazy massive change, honestly. Like it's not that you're driving and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so heavy. I think we're already at the heavy level, so adding a little bit more.
Right in the middle.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Stellar. They looked a little bit better, but I don't think it'll change with the weight, if I'm being honest. I don't. Yeah, the added weight, I don't think it's really going to affect the car over the bumps as much as maybe you would anticipate.
Okay, so it should be all the same.
Yeah.
Will this be one of those things that you're not too road courses, but you get a little bit better on knowing how to use it each weekend?
I feel like we got a good handle on it. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, things are a little fluid with how it regens and deploys and how much we can use and we can't use based on IndyCar. So those things as they change. But regardless of that, I feel like we've got a good handle on it. And there really isn't anything new that we're doing. Like, I guess there isn't really new strategies or things like that. It's just, I think, ultimately for us, it's still the same ideology that you would always have at race weekend, is working on the car, trying to get it faster, because optimizing the hybrid is worth a very small amount to what you can actually, in comparison to what you can actually do setup wise. Yeah. Our primary focus is setup and hybrid from secondary tests. No. I'd say you did have to change your driving style a little bit compared to the year before, but Mid-Ohio is a different animal in regards to high speed. Here it's mostly low speed, so yeah, a bit different in that sense. I know.
Still have.
Still? With the 16th?
Yes. I don't even think it's close.
That's terrible. Everyone's awful.
Everybody's had at least something going on. I bet.
Yeah.
Ours had 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Joseph's on the podium is in the back.
I'm surprised at that, to be honest. I was like, I lost that.
I started doing the research the other day.
Still
It now,
yeah.
and the next course is probably like
we're all bad. We're all. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You were gonna finish like.
Yeah, we're gonna finish 9th or 10th. Sorry, no. If Rossi actually ran out of fuel and there was no crash, we would have passed him, so we would have finished 9th. Yeah, no, but we were in 10th of the last one. So we would have finished. It would have been enough time. We would have taken it. But the nature of that track, because a lot of people go lap down, we actually only finished 16th instead of 10th, even with the crash, which is like, not to say a crash is good case scenario, whatever turns, but that was best outcome regarding it was a crash. So, take it.
Anything else going on?
No
time for anything.
No time for anything. Ready to go home after.
We got to work on getting it out of my garage.
You still have it?
Yeah. So
okay.
during the break, we'll get
Yes.
good time. So
Yes.
let's pick out.
I need a
ready
set.
mechanic
Yes,
that we
and
can
we'll get
sign
them.
up to and keep in the shop until
Yep.
they go to see the time.
Yep, that will be the goal.
I'll text you next week.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, we were meant to have somebody go and pick it up from you, but I think that kind of other things happened in our lives where it didn't really get thought about. So we'll deal with it over the break.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Alex this time out. Alex, 3, 2, 1. And TTDR Series points leader Alex Pillow and the streets to Toronto, where he was on the podium last year. Before we get to the Itasca and in Toronto, I mean, there's been up and down weekends, but I think in Iowa was a down and out for you after the miscue on Saturday night to come back with a strong second place finish on Sunday. What did that mean, not only for you, I guess, confidence-wise, but also to reward the team for all their hard work on Saturday night and Sunday with a great performance?
Yeah, I mean, it was not the best of our weekends, obviously, with crashing on Saturday. But the good thing is that we didn't have to wait more than 12 hours to go back out and have a good result. So it was great to finish P2, almost got our first win on an oval, and we're looking forward to Toronto now. Last street course of the race of the year. We're excited. We were really good here last year and in the past with Scott winning the 2 years. So we're excited, and I cannot wait to get started.
And as we get ready to get this weekend started, there's been so much talk over these last couple of weeks with the hybrid units, maybe the differences in Mid-Ohio and Iowa. What kind of challenges and differences do you think it could bring here in Toronto on a street course?
Yeah, I don't really know, because obviously it's the first time we're going to have the hybrid on the street course for everybody, but I think it's going to be more like what we saw in Mid-Ohio, where everybody was quite excited. You could make some differences. I don't think it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be same as Mid-Ohio. We're not going to see a crazy amount of difference with somebody using the hybrid or not, but you'll see some people having more benefits. So hopefully we can be on that side, like we were in Mid-Ohio, and we expect a good show here in Toronto.
In a place like Mid-Ohio, a place like in Toronto, when you do the track walk, does that become something that is factored in when you talk to the crew, the engineers, about maybe trying to figure out good places for deployment?
Yes, a little bit. You talk a little bit about it. I think we've been talking about it for like 1 week after Iowa, right? So once we get to the track, we're already tired about thinking about where we're gonna recharge, where we're gonna deploy. So we're just excited to go on track and just get a proper feel, because it gets frustrating when you talk and you have so many ideas, but you cannot go out on track until Friday. But yeah, it's gonna be great. It's been honestly, I think what we saw in Iowa wasn't due to the hybrid. Like, I think without the hybrid, we would have seen the same kind of race. So, yeah, I'm excited about the hybrid. I think it gives us more tools to make differences with our drivers. It puts on more complexity to already complex championships. So it's great.
With that track walk, we're talking about that ground level look. Of course, with the street course, they try as best as they can to have it be exactly the same from year to year. But have you noticed any differences and maybe bumps with the winners here in Toronto, or maybe a different placement of walls and barriers that you're going to be really watching out for when you get on track in the first practice?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so bumpy that a small bump added from last year, it's not going to change. There's been a couple of repaves, entry of turn 6, entry of turn 8, but I think it's going to still be very bumpy. So we're looking more at the walls, if the angles of the corners are the same, if there's a part that is sticking out. I would say turn 3 was probably the only one that was a bit different, but at the same time when we did the track walk yesterday, wasn't fully done. So maybe it's a little bit smoother today. Who knows? We'll find out when we go on the track.
And lastly, of course, getting ready after this race, I think much needed for a lot of people, about a 3-week break. And going into that break, what kind of plans do you have before you get ready and I guess to recharge not only the hybrid unit in the car, but recharge yourself before the grind of what you hope is a third series championship?
Rest. I'm looking forward to resting a little bit, being at home, not having any plans for the weekend. We still have a lot of work. It doesn't mean like we go at home and we just lay on the couch. We still need to prepare the last couple of races. But yeah, I'm excited to have a couple of days that I can rest at home. But having that said, I think after the third day I'll be already like, okay, what do I do now with my life, right? Like, I think it's good that I have my daughter now and that I'll be able to spend more time with her at home playing. But still, I love racing. I think after 1 weekend off, I'll be ready to go back.
You mentioned that with your daughter. I mean, how's the diaper changing going? Do you think that's maybe something you're going to work on during that break? Is there any techniques you need to work on with that?
No, honestly, I'm pretty good. I mean, I didn't this morning because I had to leave when she was still sleeping, but I do every day. Yeah, and not all the time, but when I'm home, I do it, and even here at the motorhome, I do it. So I think I'm not the best, but I would say I'm pretty good.
Of course, the racing and family sport in so many ways. Alex Blow, a new member of that. Just a couple more days of work before that rest, and we look forward to seeing what you can do this weekend in Toronto.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
It's a tough situation. This is like the old stuff.